and welcome to the Three Not So Wise Men. I am Jack.
I'm Krais.
And I'm Austin.
Okay, at the end of the last episode, we spun the wheel, and the prompt we got was make a Batman trilogy.
I'm Batman.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I'm Batman.
We haven't done an episode quite like this in a few of them.
Yeah, we haven't done a trilogy since the second episode.
Yeah. And
Really?
Yeah.
We have, yeah.
Oh, wow.
We've
Okay.
only done one trilogy so far.
And even then, that was a rewrite trilogy.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is our first, official original trilogy.
Yeah. I mean,
To a degree.
Yeah, we had the make a DC cinematic universe, but this I like this one better personally. I don't. That could be because I don't know as much about DC, but
And
we'll
you
find
get to
out.
solely focus on one character as the lead.
Yeah. So yeah, now we have a Batman trilogy.
Yeah.
Make a
Quick
Batman.
question. Quick question.
Yes.
Who's including Robin in theirs?
You get nothing out of me.
Oh, good. That's smart.
I haven't thought it through. I haven't thought that far ahead. We'll find out.
Cool. That makes it fun.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Anything else? Oh, any history with Batman?
Oh,
we kind
yes.
of cover our history with
Yeah.
Batman
Yeah.
and stuff with the DC
We've
universe.
talked. Just a quick refresher. I've seen almost all the Batman movies. Really liked the Dark Knight ones.
Oh, well, technically, our list of experience has updated for someone.
Oh, yeah. Someone has seen Robert Pattinson's Batman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched that all together, and it was pretty. I forgot how awesome the movie was.
Yeah, I think we watched it after a record session, didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we did, and then we just went. It was like, you guys want to watch a movie? Yeah, let's watch a movie.
And we watched one of the most beautiful looking Batman films.
It was so good.
But, Krais, what you think overall? Since you were the
It was
one that
good.
didn't see
I
it.
liked it. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But, yeah, it was good. I really did enjoy it. I'm trying to think. The Riddler was really good. I loved him in that movie. Looking forward to seeing Joker. I know they kind of teased it a bit. And we talked about it during the movie, but I was trying to figure out like how they would incorporate some of my favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
So
Excited to see what's coming.
yeah, excited to see what's coming.
Good. Because we can't go too deep because this isn't film review.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we've updated what we know, which isn't much different, but yeah. All right.
Well, not much different for Jack and I.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anything else we want to go before we start this timer?
I'm ready. Krais, you got something?
I am the shadow. I am the night. I am scared.
All right. Let's start that timer. 3, 2, 1.
And time.
Hey.
Honestly, I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Me too.
I was sitting here with 1 minute left, just trying to figure out where I could put some more detail.
Mm-hmm.
But if I added any more detail, it just wouldn't get finished. So honestly, I'm kind of happy where I got, and I got all 3 films.
I was about to ask. Yeah, I was like about to ask and see how much time we had left. Or I mean, I did ask how much time we had left because I want to see if I could add if there was. I was gonna be in that position, but it was time when I asked what time it was. So I'm in a great spot.
Grace, how you feeling?
Yeah.
I basically pulled a prompt out of my ass at the very beginning and rolled with it, and it's not my best work. I don't like it, if I'm being honest.
Did you at least get some of the characters you wanted?
Oh, it's done. It's just I'm not proud of it.
Yeah, but did you at least get some characters
Yeah.
that were happy to get it in the spotlight?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah, ready to see?
Spin that
Who's
wheel?
going first?
It's probably gonna be me.
Who knows?
I can feel it. That smile on Austin's face just reveals everything.
Mm-hmm. Because it is Krais.
Yeah.
Krais is definitely going first. That's what brings me the joy the most about the wheel.
Yeah.
Seeing if Krais goes first or not, because he hates it the most.
Yeah.
I'm in pain.
It's okay, but it's good to know that Jack and I both really like our prompts, so we'll have good
Yeah.
follow-ups.
Mm.
All right. Going after Krais will be... Jack.
Okay.
And that leaves me at third.
All right.
All right. I'm okay with that. I like where I went with my story.
I did too, but obviously I don't know as much about. It's been proven in this show that I don't know as much about DC as you guys, but I still feel good. I don't know if it's comic accurate in any way, but we'll find out.
And neither is the Dark Knight comic accurate,
That's a
but
good point.
it's such a great trilogy.
There we go.
All right, Krais, let us see what you have for us.
Okay. All right. So, I will be honest. My prompt really didn't come into play, or my pitch didn't really come into play until the second one. So the first one's kind of a hodgepodge of ideas that I think kind of works, but I'll leave it up to you guys. So at the beginning of the first Batman movie for my trilogy, it's revealed that Batman and Nightwing have been working together for a while now, okay? And after stopping Victor Zsasz, it's like the very beginning, okay? Mm-hmm. It's like he's so much of a throwaway villain, right?
Sorry, it's so crazy because I also had Victor Zsasz in my first film.
He's just
guys. Remember, I don't know these characters.
Oh, yeah. Victor Zsasz is a serial killer who every time he kills someone, he scratches a mark on his skin. So he's very sadistic.
You know,
and if he doesn't kill that person, he grows insane about how much he needs that mark.
Gotcha.
You know what's crazy about that? We had the exact same interaction when we did the DC cinematic universe.
We did?
Yeah, we did. Because you brought it up. Okay, guys, remember, I don't know much about DC. Who's Victor Zsasz? And then before I can say anything, Austin jumps in with the whole reason. And in fact, I think it was almost word for word. And you're like, oh, okay. It's a little creepy how similar it was.
It's been a bit.
But also, yeah.
All right. Okay.
But Krais, continue. What happens to Zsasz?
Well, no, he's just kind of like, hey.
Well, what happens after he gets thrown away?
Yeah. It's like, hey, we got Victor Zsasz. I think this is a perfect time for me to go back to Bloodhaven. Okay? And then Batman's left on his own for the first time after about 5 years of being Batman.
You said this is the first time he's on his own after 5 years of being Batman, or after 5 years of working with...
It's the first time that he's been on his own since he first started in 5 years of being Batman. So
he's only been Batman for 5 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Was he with Robin from the very beginning then as Batman? I'm just confused on what you're saying.
Yeah,
this is why my prompt didn't really come into play in the first one.
Okay.
But
okay.
I threw in 5 years as a number.
Okay.
But point is, the Batman story has been pretty simple up until this point. He becomes Batman, gets Robin. Robin says, "Hey, I'm gonna go do my own thing." Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert. Nightwing comes back, and after a few months together, Nightwing goes back to Bloodhaven.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay, that's where we're at. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's very obvious what I did later in the show, but I'll get to that later. Anyways, little does Nightwing know, the day he's leaving, a territory dispute is going on with some of the mobsters in Gotham. Because you gotta have some mobsters.
I'm hoping for one. If you don't say this one, I'll be a little disappointed.
I actually have a few.
I know. You're good. If it's gonna be a mob war in Gotham, there's gonna be quite a bit of mobs. I just hoping for this one key villain.
Okay. Go. Oh, by the way, the name of this Batman movie is The Great Mob War.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The villain there's a territory dispute between Penguin, Two-Face, Black Mask.
Yes.
I knew it.
Yeah.
The ventriloquist.
Ooh.
The Great White Shark.
Okay, nerd.
And Maxi Zeus.
There's a lot of them there.
Okay.
There's a lot, I know.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't decide.
Sorry, Maxi Zeus and the Great White Shark aren't very well established, so it's hard for me to get excited for those ones because I'm like, okay, those are some deep cuts, but
they're mostly minor ones. It's mostly the bigger names, but
so Black Mask, Two-Face, and Penguin.
Yeah. Thank you. But they're all in terms of it's the 6 most dangerous mobs in Gotham. It's these 6, but yeah, I don't see Great White playing a big role, but I kind of wanted to add him because he doesn't get a lot of spotlight.
Gotcha.
But yeah, basically the first Batman movie is a big mob war between these 6 factions, and Batman is trying to stop them. And he eventually finds Tim Drake and Barbara Gordon, who agree to help him and basically join the Bat family while help stop the other factions. Yeah, and so basically at the end of this movie, Batman has a new Robin and Batgirl.
Okay.
Yeah. Batman number 2. Oh, I should mention, at the end of the first one, it's revealed that the Court of Owls was the one that started the territorial dispute.
Ooh. Jack, for you.
Oh, I know the Court of Owls.
Oh, you know the Court of Owls?
That's one of the few ones I do know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it wasn't any one of the mobsters, but it was the Court of Owls like pulling the strings at the end. But we don't know why, obviously. Yeah. And another thing that that happens during the mob war is the gangsters are like pulling people out of Arkham, just a bunch of criminals out of Arkham, to like help with the war. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's revealed that the Court of Owls was controlling the whole thing and really wants to stop Batman. And at the end of the movie, it's revealed for not to the public, but just to a few people that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Okay? So, with this information, the Court of Owls now knows the true identity of Batman and has their contact in Arkham, Hugo Strange, gain control of one of the inmates, Hush.
Okay.
Can you remind me a little bit more about Hush? I know he's a big deal, but I don't remember what he does.
He's basically a surgeon. Not a surgeon.
He's a surgeon.
He's a surgeon. That's the word.
And he is actually a former friend of Bruce Wayne, who in comics surgically alters his face so he looks like Bruce Wayne and sabotages Bruce Wayne's life. There was some sort of falling out between either the families or just between him and Bruce. But he usually takes Bruce's identity and causes problems for him.
Okay.
So basically, the Court of Owls puts Hugo Strange in front of Hush's path because they know Hush has a big thing against Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. So Hugo and Hush work together to basically sabotage Bruce Wayne's life. To do this, they decide to attack him from both sides. Hugo Strange on the Bruce Wayne side and Hush on the Batman side. Okay? It made sense in my head now that I say it out loud. But I digress. They decide they need a little bit more firepower than just between the two of them. So Hugo, using his contacts in Arkham, catches Nora to have Victor Freeze help them with some firepower issues. Austin's face is... I'm not very proud of this.
For the record, Mr. Freeze is my favorite Batman villain behind Joker. Mm-hmm. So you have to do Freeze right. I'm listening. I'm not fully disappointed yet.
Yeah, I know.
I do like the interesting take, though. I'll get to that, what I like about it, though.
Anyways, so this was my jumping off point. And... this is the theme I wanted to do, but I didn't want to do it right out the gate because it didn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. So I tried to make this one work, and I don't know. It's just, this is not my best work. I'm not proud of this. I'll be 100% honest.
What is it, though?
But basically, Hugo, using Mr. Freeze's general knowledge of,
cryostasis?
Well, not cryostasis. Since he's trying to learn, fix Nora's disease. He's trying. He has a very particular set of skills with manipulating cells in a way. So Hugo helps Mr. Freeze in basically creating a bunch of the monstrous villains in the Batman universe. Here are some of my examples. Killer Croc, who I definitely wanted in this trilogy, as some of you may know. Mm-hmm. But basically, instead of Croc at first being just this hulking Croc character, he does have scales and teeth. But because of the work that Mr. Freeze and Hugo Strange does to him, it basically makes him this full blown monster. They also start developing the serum for Bane and start using who is just a normal prisoner in Arkham that Hugo was they're just using for testing, and becomes Bane. Clayface is affected, unfortunately. He's not a prisoner at this, but during the first confrontation between Hush and Batman and them talking about all of this, or like the beginning of the movie, Hush uses, I can't remember his name, but the guy who
Thomas Elliot.
Yeah, Thomas Elliot as a hostage, and uses a experimental serum that was created by his team that turns him into Clayface. And I also have another one. I kind of like the idea, but Solomon Grundy was used as like the basis for all of this research. Like they found Solomon Grundy, used his miraculous healing factor as like as the basis for developing Killer Croc and like the Bane serum and Clayface. Okay.
Nothing like an undead zombie to cause more monsters.
Yeah. So basically, they're doing the monster lab, if you will, and they also resurrect. It's also revealed that they resurrect Jason Todd. Okay. Who in this
I knew you were gonna have Jason Todd in here.
I love Red Hood, but in this universe, I had this idea. I didn't write it down, but this is in my head canon. In this universe, Joe Chill, okay,
no idea who that is.
The killer of Bruce Wayne's parents.
Gotcha.
Joe Chill, in a attempt to save himself from Batman, grabs Robin and falls down into a vat of acid, turning him into the Joker, almost killing him, and killing Jason Todd.
Interesting.
So Joe Chill becomes the Joker.
Yeah, that's what
and kills.
I kind of like that, making Joe Chill the Joker while also killing Jason Todd at the same time.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And then it's just Batman fighting these various monsters: Killer Croc, Bane, Solomon Grundy, and Clayface. Almost threw a Man-Bat in there because I wanted him, but I was like, no, I'm already doing too much here. I gotta rein back. And Catwoman also makes an appearance in this movie and helps Batman with like researching what's going on. Mm. And it's also the introduction of Red Hood. Oh, and at the end, when everything is said and done, Talia al Ghul steps out of the shadows and talks to Bruce and says, I want you to meet Damian.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And this is all the second movie?
All second movie.
Okay.
Chaos.
All chaos.
Now I'll agree with that. Chaos.
Chaos. Yeah.
A mob war and then a monster war.
Yeah.
So what did you do for the third movie, or are you done with the second movie yet?
That's the end of. That's the like very end. Like
okay.
It's like this is Damian. Cut to black.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like the end credit scene.
Yeah.
So Batman 3, I labeled Bats versus Owls. Okay.
You okay, Jack?
Oh, I don't have my glasses on, so I was squinting, but that was like a what? I don't know where this is going.
Court of Owls.
Oh, I thought you said apples. I heard bats versus apples, and that's why I was so confused. I was like,
so I guess you got poison ivy in this.
Yeah.
I haven't heard nowhere in here.
I was about to say like, oh, I guess she's the villain, but why apples? What's going on here?
It's a new plant that she's working on. All it does is grow apples and chucks them at people.
There you go.
Get away, doctor. So the Batman 3 opens up with Joker making his first on-screen appearance, and it's revealed that he has stolen the research that Mr. Freeze did for the last movie. Okay, he's basically like taken it, and he's going to be like, "Oh, I'm going to do my own spin on this," and he decides to get the two villains that he knows that can do as much. I want to say like psychological damage that he can think of. He gets the Mad Hatter and Scarecrow.
Okay.
And basically their plan is to, while Joker is dealing with Batman and like throwing as much as he can at him, Scarecrow and the Mad Hatter are going to be turning the entirety of Gotham against Batman by not only using the serum to basically monsterify them, but also use the fear tonic of Scarecrow and mind control them using Mad Hatter's abilities. At the beginning of the movie, it's revealed that we meet, I do not remember her name, but Batwoman's character. Okay?
It's like Cassandra or something.
It's something. But I'm not using her original name. It's Catherine Rebecca. Catherine Rebecca Kane.
Yeah, Cassandra Kane.
Cassandra Kane. Okay.
Catherine Kane.
So
yeah.
I'm changing her name to Cassandra Arkham. Okay.
Okay.
So she is the last living member of the Arkham family, and she finds out that she basically throughout the movie she becomes Batwoman and helps Batman with the Court of Owls, who is the one who set Joker free to slow down Batman. Yeah, and it's basically just turning the whole city against Batman, and Batman stops both the Joker and the Court of Owls, saving the day. And that's pretty much it. The only thing else I had was when I realized I forgot something. I forgot a few things, but I wanted one more thing, and I decided to do this to like help with the Court of Owls situation, because I can already see the thought like forming in your brain, Austin. The Court of Owls was originally created by the Arkhams, in my headcanon. And so my thought process was the Court of Owls wants to ruin the Wayne family name because of what the Waynes becoming a more successful family than the Arkhams, and
Honestly, Krais, you could do whatever you want with the Court of Owls. They're still relatively new, and the only media I've really had them in, like they came out in like the 2010s, I think, maybe early 2000s. But the only thing I've really seen them in was the Gotham Knights video game, and then they had one episode of the animated Harley Quinn series where, that was something.
I know them from there's a TV show, Gotham Knights. It was a very unique spin where, like, the first episode, Bruce Wayne is revealed as Batman after he was killed.
Oh, I remember. They got horrendous reviews.
Yeah, I personally liked it. I wanted to see more, but also I knew it was bad. Like, I knew it was bad, but I still enjoyed it, type of thing. But that's how I knew about the Court of Owls and didn't need you to explain it to me.
Gotcha. Yeah. But Court of Owls, you can change up the origin, and I probably wouldn't bat an eye because they're just not one I know a whole lot about.
I was thinking I didn't have a reason for the Court of Owls to be going after Batman, and I realized that like as I was finishing up, and I was like, oh shit.
Oh, I know why they would go after that part. I could probably answer.
Yeah, that is what I was talking about when I looked at you, because it's like, okay,
that one's
what's your motivation?
Yeah, the simple thing is the Court of Owls like to shape Gotham into their image.
Yeah.
And Batman kind of hinders their image with what he does as the protector of Gotham. Yeah. That's basically, you don't need much of an explanation. They just need the protector out of the way.
Yeah. But point is, I changed up their origin a bit so that their origins come from the Arkham family, and wanting to stop the Wayne family.
Yeah. Jack, you want to go first?
Sure, because I know you got
I do have
a lot more to say than I do.
Probably do.
So the premise for each movie I really like. I definitely had some similar thoughts in my stuff. So the first one, I like how it's not too big. I think it's a good way to introduce Batman, whatever this version of Batman looks like for a movie. For this trilogy, and then we can get into the second one with all these monster villains, and we get to see like the more comic book version. Like, this is all comic book, but we get to see the more crazy, for lack of a better term, Batman villains, and then we go into the final movie where we get all this insane stuff going on. So for the premise of each of the movies, I really liked. And I liked that I like how you changed the origins of these villains. I don't know the origins for all of them, but I like what you did, especially with basically these villains are creating these other villains. I feel like it takes these other villains down a notch, or a few at least, in how, I'm trying to find the right words. They don't feel as important because when they're created by another villain for a purpose. But what I really liked was how the Joker comes strolling along, takes what you had already established in the second movie, and improves it. It feels a lot more like a continuation of the same story, as opposed to 3 different movies. And I really liked that about it. And yeah, that's what I got to say mostly. I'll probably have a few things to add to whatever Austin has to say. More questions about what he's talking about, but yeah. All right, Austin.
All right. Overall, as a trilogy, I like that you're trying to give light to some of these lesser known characters. I think that's really cool. I also really like the idea of having the Court of Owls be this overarching villain throughout the films. I thought you handled that part really well. Probably my biggest complaint for the trilogy as a whole, as well as each individual movie, they seem very overstuffed. Probably the easiest one to fix right off the bat would be your first Batman movie, the Mob War, where you can probably take out the two underutilized ones, Great White Shark and who else?
Maxie Zeus.
And then you could probably throw them in as like little Easter egg characters as henchmen and one of the three other big boss ones. I felt like that would have made sense because when you have six of them, you said 5 or 6.
6.
Yeah, you have 6 of them at war with each other. That seems like a very big plot point that needs more than 3 hours to run through.
Yeah.
And honestly, like Game of Thrones has this war called the War of the Five Kings, and that took 2 seasons for them to get through.
Yeah.
So it's like, whew.
I will say, I did write, I was like, okay, what are some mobsters that I like and would be cool for Batman to face? And I wrote them down, started just writing more, and then I realized, oh wait, I have like 6 mobsters here. Shit, I have 2 minutes to get rid of them. I don't know what I'm gonna do, so I'll just leave it.
But honestly, I think you could get away with 4 because I also really like the idea that you brought the ventriloquist into play, which is very unique character who would be very interesting to see as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay, this is me testing my knowledge. Ventriloquist is a guy who does bad things because he says his ventriloquist dummy is telling him to do it, right?
Yep.
Sort of.
Basically.
Okay. That's how you explained it to me previously.
Yeah, it's kind of unclear whether he actually is and the dummy's possessed or if he's just cray-cray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, with your monster movie one, that was a lot to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure where I would make cuts exactly, but I found it very interesting. It's probably not my favorite way to do it, but having Mr. Freeze essentially be Dr. Frankenstein for everything was such a fun thing to do and very different for him. Because I could see how you could make his experimentation with all these monster creatures being and the use of Solomon Grundy being the patient zero.
Mm-hmm.
I really like your use of Grundy being patient zero because I can see him being that test subject that Freeze wants to use to help find a cure for Nora. Also, which I mentioned briefly, I really like what you did with Nora because I think a lot of media, Nora's always just frozen. So it's always very interesting to see what Batman can do with her when she's not in cryogenesis. Cryostasis.
Yeah.
What did I say about Nora?
I thought you said that Batman was going to was going to get Nora to help unthaw Freeze.
No.
Did I misheard that?
I believe so. I believe, from what I understood, he had the 2 main guys use Nora. He used Nora as leverage to have
Mr.
Dr.
Freeze.
Okay. I see you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, never mind all that then.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe he.
But maybe if
something
you want to
to
steal,
add.
that idea of the revisers,
No.
I wouldn't be against that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it suffered from the being overstuffed a little bit.
Yeah.
And then your final film, that one definitely seemed the least focused one because you had Joker, Mad Hatter, Scarecrow. You have all those 3. Plus the Court of Owls, which has been your overarching villain for this trilogy. Mm-hmm. And it kind of seems like you put those 3 big villains, maybe 2 big villains with Scarecrow and Joker, because Mad Hatter's still kind of teeny in those lines. But then you have the overall villain that you've been using. I felt like maybe you should have cut 1 or 2 of the other villains. And then maybe if you kept Joker, he could be the Court of Owls' loose cannon that they set loose as they release their overarching plan.
That's basically what it was.
But it just seemed like you have 2 really contrasting plot points that you got going on. You have the Court of Owls plot point, which is what your whole setup's been. But then you got these like crazy psychotic villains like Joker, Scarecrow, and Mad Hatter. And just kind of, I don't know if those 2 mesh together too well. But again, you said that you weren't very proud of this prompt to begin with and you kind of just rushed things together. Mm-hmm. Which overall, not bad. I do like what you have. I think you have stuff in there. My last little thought, though, it's a really weird coincidence that the titles that I gave my last two movies would work for each of your last two movies. So my second movie title would work for your second movie, and then my third movie would also work for your third movie.
I will say I did name the second movie. I just wasn't proud of it.
What was his name?
Fangs Unleashed.
Okay.
If there was like Man-Bat in there, I think it would
Yeah, like a vampire.
I like the name. I just don't think it fits super well.
Yeah. That's why I didn't say it.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that I want to point out is when I was writing this, I'm like, oh, wait, what if it would be so cool if Hugo Strange teamed up with Ra's al Ghul and, they started working together. Wait, nope, that's Batman 2. Okay, let's try something else.
Yep, Arkham City.
That's Arkham City. Okay, well, let's see, what else can I do? Well, what if the Riddler comes in and starts, messing around and then Catwoman's go, wait, no, that's the new Batman movie. Shit. Well, okay.
Interesting.
I was trying really hard to not do something similar to something else, and I got this hot piece of garbage that I've written. And
it's not all garbage. Give you some credit. You do have some good ideas and good story points you want to cover. It just needed a little bit more time to flesh out. That's all it is, and maybe just some overall looks to get everything organized.
I think you just needed some feedback. Is really it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall not bad. Jack, did you have anything else to add?
No, no. I mean, yeah, that's it. That's all I gotta say about it.
Cool. In that case, let's see what you got for your Batman trilogy.
Okay, so I'm going to open up by saying I had a lot of ideas that Krais had, and maybe Austin has too, but you got to remember, and something I'd like to remind people, my Batman knowledge is mainly off of the main movies, so I definitely took a lot of elements from them, but I did my best to not just have them be the same freaking plot.
Mm-hmm.
But and some parts will not be fleshed out because I wanted to focus on getting a good pitch as opposed to spending all this time to get this accurate.
Or focus solely on one script
exactly.
or one movie out of the three.
Yeah, because there was one that, I'll get to that in a second. Alright, so my first movie is called The Dark Knight versus the Clown Prince. Or The Dark Knight and the Clown Prince, or something like that.
Okay, so I wonder who the villain's going to be.
Yeah.
It's definitely not Joker.
No, I wanted to open it up with
Harley Quinn.
I mean, that could be something.
Yeah.
Make Harley Quinn the main one and Joker's...
There.
That'd be a good... I'd see that. That'd be an interesting twist on the characters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wanted to open it up with the Joker story. It's pretty basic, so I'll just go into it. So, Bruce Wayne has been Batman for about 3 years now, but none of these big villains have really shown up quite yet. He's been mainly fighting, just pretty standard crime as well as some of these organized crime as it's going on. Rooting out corruption, and just overall, he's Batman in a normal world as we open the movie. And he's starting to make actual noticeable progress in making Gotham better. But his budding success has brought a challenge from a man who is revealed to have been behind the scenes of a lot of these crimes, organizing it from the shadows. And after a series of recent high-end robberies, he comes into the spotlight. After robbing the main bank in Gotham, Joker reveals himself in front of the news and makes this big speech publicly challenging Batman to stop him from taking over the city. And he does a few things, more robberies, hostage situations, stuff like that. And we also have all the Joker classics with his lethal gag gifts, stuff like that. And Harley Quinn is there. She's not really a focus, but she's there, helping the Joker out. But the main thing is Joker has this group of criminals, these henchmen that were doing all this work beforehand, but now it's his time to make an appearance as the leader. Is basically what we're going into. As Batman is failing to stop the Joker, and the Joker's revealing I'm going to do this at this time, and he still outsmarts Batman because he's been planning this for quite a while. Batman keeps failing, and the public just sees Batman failing again and again. So the people turn against Batman, and they want Batman to leave. They want him to stop being Batman. when he refuses, the people pressure the mayor into turning Batman into a criminal. The police start turning against Batman, and, Batman's on the run is basically where it gets down to. And then we get into a massive chase scene. The Joker leaks, air quotes, information about his next attack. Batman goes, it's a trap. Nothing's going on, and all of a sudden there's this massive chase we get to see where the police are chasing Batman in the Batmobile, but also Joker's henchmen are involved in the chase as well, either chasing him directly or trying to hinder Batman so he can get caught by the police. And at the end of this big old chase scene, Batman escapes, but there's strong evidence that he was gravely wounded after the Batmobile was destroyed in a crash. Thinking Batman is out of commission for the time being, Joker strolls into City Hall ready to take complete control of the city. However, the police were expecting this and try and stop him. And it gets into a police versus henchman fight, and the Joker is there using his gag gift weapons to help fight him off. However, it's too difficult for Joker's liking, so he escapes to the roof and is about to set off a massive, I don't think bomb's the right word, something that's going to release his laughing gas all for several blocks that will let him move in and take power as needed. And we have this big monologue where he's yelling at the city, but it's to himself as he's setting this off. And right before he does, boom, we see Joker fall down and Batman staying over there holding his side, and he knocked the Joker out. So he beat the Joker that way, but Joker had already called reinforcements. So we get this epic fight on top of a building. Batman barely escapes. Batman beats them all, barely. And in the final scene, we see Gordon leading the arrest of all these guys. And then Batman stops to talk to him for a minute, and it's revealed Batman was in fact gravely wounded, and he did all this with a massive puncture in his side. And then just kind of showing what this Batman is. He's willing to do anything for this city. And then Joker gets locked up in Arkham. That was the one that takes the longest. That was the movie that took the longest to explain because it kind of led up to the rest of this. These movies are all a lot more standalone. There's a lot less of there's not really an overarching story. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really shooting for that. But the second one is called The Underground of Gotham. This is another mob war one. So after the Joker's incarceration, Falcone, Black Mask, and Penguin have been trying for power to take over Gotham's underground, as well as Maroni. But our story starts a year after the incarceration of Joker, and Falcone has just set up for the police to capture Maroni. And so Falcone, it looks like Falcone is about to take over the city. Seeing this, the Penguin leads an attempt to take Falcone's life. Batman appears, trying to stop them both, saving Falcone's life and apprehending them both. Falcone escapes pretty quickly, so the Batman has to make a decision. He decides to go after Penguin. In his only way to escape, Penguin fakes his death, which activates Failsafe. So, do you guys know what I'm talking about? Failsafe?
Like it activates some sort of bomb or something?
No, Failsafe is Failsafe is an android made by Bruce Wayne that if Batman ever breaks his rule and kills, this android built by Batman goes out to kill Batman, is basically what it is. It was brought up, and it's this android that was able to, in the comics, from what I saw, basically hold Gotham City hostage and let crime run around, and the Justice League couldn't even really get in there without their heavy hitters. Is how it was described to me. So it's
interesting. It sounds a lot like a Mazo, Krais.
Amazing.
Yeah, the thing that the robot that can adapt to all the superpowers and take on the Justice League.
It's more of an android body that's super powerful and physically capable.
Well, obviously it's only targeting Batman.
Yeah, but it is only targeting Batman, but it's made by Batman, so it knows his moves. He designed this thing to kill him if he ever broke his rule. So that's what Failsafe is. So, and this part was from the comics, that Penguin faked his death. But no one knew about Failsafe except for Batman and Alfred. But Failsafe comes out and basically the next time Batman tries to stop Black Mask from doing something, Failsafe shows up. So Batman has to go on the run against this android that never has to stop. And he keeps to areas of Gotham where there aren't many people to try and keep the people of Gotham safe. So while we cut to Batman fighting Failsafe as well as trying to do stuff, we follow, for a bit of the movie, Detective Gordon. And at the time, the police are told to help stop all these these mob bosses that are at war with each other, since they don't have to worry about Batman right now. So it's gone into an all-out, full city mob war. And so the police are trying to figure this out. Gordon alone realizes that they need the Bat back. So after talking to Batman and... You good?
Sorry, just when you said we need the Bat back, my brain went to Batman's back. All right, That's where my brain went. I don't know why, but just keep going.
You're good. So yeah, basically Gordon's on he meets up with Batman a few times, which leads to a lot of close calls. But he ends up finding Penguin and proves that he's still alive, apprehending him. Batman does a thing where Failsafe sees the news. Failsafe immediately goes back to where he was, knowing that Penguin is still alive. And then at the end of it, the Penguin is incarcerated, and the movie ends with Batman going to take down Black Mask and Falcone. So it's really it's a story about Failsafe, as well as we get to see these crime bosses go at it. Yeah, so that's movie 2. We go into movie 3, called A Year of Hell. Can you guys guess the villain of this one? No? Okay.
All right.
It's something you guys suggested or something. Basically, New Year's Day, 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was like,
the long Halloween approach.
Well,
Yeah,
I was like,
exactly.
what is he talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
Long Halloween.
okay, real
The
quick.
title wasn't going to give that away.
Yeah.
For the audience, as soon as Jack said that, me and Austin just looked at each other and were like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
And then almost at the exact same time, it was like, oh, okay, we know what you're talking about.
I'll let you say the villain first, and we'll tell a little story about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the villain's Calendar Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after we watched the Batman and showed Krais the Batman,
Yeah.
Krais and I were talking about the story at least I was telling about the storyline that influenced the Batman movie, and it was the Long Halloween, and we brought up how a big part of it is Calendar Man, and Jack originally laughed at that because it just sounds like a joke character, which most of the time he is. But the Long Halloween actually makes him a really unique and strategic character, and there's a good way that you can make a good storyline with him. And if anybody was going to do it out of the three of us, I felt like Jack was going to do that.
Yep.
And now I'm so happy. So Jack, please continue. What does Calendar Man do in this?
I will say, I only brought up Calendar Man during that conversation because we were talking about what villains could we see being made into this trilogy, and I said something. I think I said it's like I don't see Calendar Man being a thing, and that's what sparked the whole like. You should do Calendar Man.
Yeah, this was suggested. I think Austin said something along the lines of, you could do it. So I thought...
Calendar Man is a character I feel like you could take inspiration or use in a good way.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I couldn't do a ton of research in my 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is me just kind of explaining what happens as opposed to how it happens. So... starting on New Year's Eve, this is 5 years after the end of the second movie. So Batman has been Batman for, what is it?
7 years?
4 plus, so 9 years, almost a decade.
Oh, okay.
Because 3 to start with, plus a year, plus 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's been essentially almost a decade. So, and this entire movie takes place over a year. So it's very episodic. And it's about Batman trying to figure out the connections between these things. So it starts New Year's Day, 5 years after the Penguin was caught. Sorry, some of this stuff auto-corrected. So I'm trying to make sense of it. Calendar Man has freed Penguin. We don't know how he was freed, but he's free. and Penguin makes a vie for power. It does not go well. He's shut down pretty quick by this Batman who's been going at it for quite a while at this point. And then, basically, as this goes along, different Batman villains make moves on particular holidays that might pertain to them. And then, as it goes, Batman's trying to figure out why it's holidays. Like, why are you making these moves on holidays? And at the beginning, no one says anything, but as he goes along, he gathers clues. This is more of a mystery movie than anything else, showing Batman's detective work. And some of them start talking about a secret, someone who's funding them. They don't know who he is, or they won't say who he is. But they're getting funds and plans for these things. Some of them, they're literally handed everything to do these things on these particular days. And some of them don't do it. They just don't take the bait. For instance, Catwoman is one of them. She was sent a bunch of money and plans to pull something off. I don't know what day. And she just doesn't. And so Batman goes to find her and ask about this. He goes into Arkham asking the Joker about this. And they're not. And Joker just kind of plays with Batman, but he hints at there's a mastermind behind it. Catwoman says, I got this money and this information. I'll let you know where it's from. I don't want any part of this. So it's him following a money trail, trying to figure it out, but it's super complicated. And just for some examples on different supervillains with holidays, I had the Riddler on April Fool's, since the Joker is currently locked up. I had Poison Ivy on Earth Day, Scarecrow on Halloween, and then near the end, Dr. Freeze on Christmas Eve. Ooh. However, Dr. Freeze does not want any part of this either. Calendar Man has Nora. Specifically has Nora and says that he has a cure for Nora. So Dr. Freeze is doing something to ruin Christmas. I don't know, something on theme. I didn't really think it was worth fleshing out. And then when Batman stops him, Mr. Freeze. I keep calling him Dr. Freeze.
Well, he is a doctor.
Yeah, and that's
it's Dr. Victor Freeze.
Yeah,
his villain name is Mr. Freeze.
And that's something there's
some iterations where
it's also because how you spell his actual name, Freeze, is not the normal Freeze. Yeah. And then that's also why when he's Mr. Freeze, it's a different person.
Hello, my name is Dr. Mr. Freeze. Yeah. Nice to meet you. Yes, hello. Yeah.
Also, so many Batman villains are doctors, and then something happens to them. I've noticed that when I was looking for villains.
Yeah.
But anyway, so basically, Batman has, over this long period of time, with a lot of help from Alfred, has figured out what's going to happen. And on the next New Year's Day, on the stroke of midnight, Calendar Man has found a way to free everyone in Arkham. So Batman's like, yeah, we're not doing this. And as this is happening, a lot of these villains were in Arkham and have been freed, because it's been 5 years of crime fighting. Mm-hmm. And this helps Batman figure this out. And that way we get to see more of Batman exploring Arkham as well, which is something I'd like to see from it. But so he finally talks to the Joker, and the Joker accidentally lets slip the final clue that Batman needs to find Calendar Man. Batman finally finds Calendar Man, stops him, and when he goes to make sure Calendar Man is locked up in Arkham, he makes sure he brings Calendar Man there himself, because this has been a year of hell going on. And Batman's very angry at Calendar Man. This is the truest test of Batman not killing, because Calendar Man has been killing for a year, and it's all been his fault. So it's supposed to gets really high stakes. But when Batman goes to drop Calendar Man off, he found out the Joker has escaped, and that he didn't accidentally leak that final hint. He gave it to Batman so he could use it as a cover to escape. And then when Batman finds that out, we get to the end of the movie where he goes up on a rooftop, and we hear like a voice over him saying, "Doesn't matter how many times they escape, doesn't matter how many new villains show up, I will always be there." And then we cut to black, and that's the end of it. Because I kind of wanted to wrap up the trilogy in a way that we know what's going on forward, but we also feel like it has a good close. Mm-hmm. And for me, that is generally, it's not over. Like, it's not all the villains are locked up. It's Batman still going out there and doing his thing. So yeah, that's my trilogy.
Krais, you want to go first?
I really enjoyed this one. I do think your Calendar Man should have been first, personally.
It sounded like Calendar Man. I honestly thought Calendar Man was going to be your first one. I would agree with that. But I also do like the story that you did end up telling with Calendar Man being the last one.
Yeah. And I think you did a really good job of using Calendar Man in a way that doesn't paint him as, oh, I'm just going to do this on this day. Oh. Okay? Because, to be honest, there's so many, like, forgotten Batman villains that kind of suck because of how they're written and how they're, like Polka Dot Man. Okay? People forgot about him until the Suicide movie.
And then he was awesome in that movie.
Yeah, and he was made awesome in that movie. Like, I feel like there's such a, like, I appreciate that you did this redemption arc for Calendar Man, and I thank you for that. Another thing I want to say real quick is props to you for using a Batman character that me or Austin didn't know.
Yeah.
That was impressive. Impressive, sir, because I pride myself in knowing a shit ton about Batman villains because I like a lot of them. And when you said Failsafe, you guys know Failsafe, right? I was just like...
I got no reaction from you guys, so I was like, is this, like, not, like, do you not know this? Is like, did I mess up?
I thought you were just saying failsafe, like, okay, yeah, what's the failsafe?
Yeah.
Usually failsafe's like a bomb exploded halfway across town or something like that.
No, failsafe is the name of the android. Yeah.
Okay. I looked him up because it was killing me that I didn't know this character. Yeah. So, apparently, he was created by Batman Zur and R. Okay? The weird, like, red, purple, and yellow one. Which is basically the Batman of another dimension, I think. Comic book wise, I don't know much about this character.
I was looking at their website. The version I found was from a different one, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he was created after the Austin, do you remember the storyline where Batman's contingency plan gets out?
Yeah.
Okay, Failsafe was made after that for Batman. Failsafe is the failsafe for Batman, made by Batman in his contingency plans, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I was... Yeah, so basically... And also, the thing I found of Penguin faking his death was also something I found from... It was apparently from a...
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, it showed a bit of a comic strip saying... Batman saying, like, I made him. He knows everything about... He was made by me. He knows my moves. He knows my style, like, all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's failsafe. He knows him inside and out. But, to address something you said earlier, the reason why I had Calendar Man be in the last movie is because I wanted to start with a Batman that hasn't been Batman for a long amount of time.
Yeah.
But for what I wanted to do with Calendar Man, I needed a lot of villains to be available for these holidays.
Yep, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I had him.
That's my thing with it. Is like I liked what you did with having Calendar Man be the third villain or third main villain.
Yeah.
Because while the setup in the first movie made it sound like it would be a good Calendar Man one.
Yeah.
I like what you ended up doing with it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with that.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was just basically asking it.
No, that's pretty much it. I liked all the three movies that you said. I know that the prompt is make a Batman trilogy, but I think these are really good standalone ones as well. Like you said.
That's what I was going for.
They're just set with the same. And even then, you still do kind of have that trilogy aspect of having the overarching story like you didn't even think you did. Mm-hmm. You still have those villains from those first movies.
Yeah.
And they're carried over into that. So that also does help it make a little bit more cohesive as a trilogy.
Yeah. I wanted it to be just a continuation of the same story focusing on different individual elements, but it is the same story. It's the same Batman. It's the same timeline. So stuff from the past will still affect the current. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and a lot of the same stuff with Krais. Like really impressive that you picked a character that neither of us knew. And
I'm still looking at.
So big props to that. And I also really do think that you not knowing as much about these characters as Krais and I do really helped you with your storytelling, because you get to focus a lot more on what kind of story you want to tell with Batman, and you get to pick and choose these characters.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if I want to completely change this character, but here's this underutilized character that I can bring up and that fits perfectly for it. And I said this back in the DC pitch too. Like, I really think that helps you in what you do for these DC pitches.
Yeah. One last thing from me. The thing I think of when I think of Batman is 3 different things: Batman versus Joker, Batman and then the underground crime of Gotham, and then all of Batman's villains. He has so many of them, and I feel like the way I set it up, I was able to show all of that, and it's hard to show all of them at once. So I just kind of did 3 different movies. And then I also liked the idea that Joker is Batman's main villain, and that doesn't change even though I have Calendar Man as the final main villain. The Joker still played a big part in taking down Calendar Man and then used that for his advantage. So yeah.
My biggest complaint against your trilogy is mostly all in the second movie, where I feel like you kind of underutilized the gang war that you set up. Where you do have like a couple just hits going on that Batman goes to, but also Failsafe does. And when you set it up at the beginning, it felt like there was going to be another good mob war between Penguin and some other big ones. Like what was it, Maroni you said?
I had Falcone, Black Mask, Penguin, and then Maroni. It starts with right after Falcone got Maroni arrested.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
yeah, I kind of felt like when you set that up, there should have been more of the mob war between the big bosses going on too. And I feel like that's kind of, you could have just had it been a Penguin setup at the beginning, have him killed off in quotations, and then have that story with Failsafe with Penguin being revealed at the end. And then it's just not like, hey, we got a mob war going on in the background with just a couple random hits showing up.
Sorry, I probably should have explained better. It was Batman versus Failsafe was the background, and it follows.
Okay, it's just the way that you made the pitch.
Yeah,
it sounded like that was the forefront, and that was interesting. Yeah, it was just like the mob part needed.
Sorry. The beginning is Batman. Basically, I was trying to read this while still speaking at the same. When I had to stop to explain Failsafe, it kind of threw me off my rhythm. But Failsafe versus Batman is like a background thing, but it does take Batman out of the picture for a good portion of the movie. Like, he's still there, but he's just kind of makes appearances.
But I think the other thing is because what kind of character you set up Failsafe to be, it kind of just naturally draws itself to be a center focus on that. So that's why I felt like the gang war aspect just wasn't as important. Yeah. And I would have just made it, maybe just a small territorial thing, or maybe even just a Penguin job that went south that got him killed, with Failsafe being his overall goal.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, because what I really wanted to see most from this movie was the mob war, the gang war. But with Failsafe and Batman running around, I wanted them to basically just make appearances while this stuff is going on. Because Batman's still trying to do his thing, but he's also running for his life. So yeah, that's something that would need fleshed out if this ever became a thing. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, overall I really liked it.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else? All right, cool. All right. Austin, hit us with it.
My prediction for this pitch, Mr. Freeze and the Joker will be somewhere in this trilogy.
Really? I'm going to make a bolder one. Batman's in it somehow.
Anyways, my Batman trilogy. I took heavy inspiration from Matt Reeves' current Batman movies that he's working on, and kind of want to see how I can blend a good portion of realism while also making it fantastical too. So we're still gonna have like some weird super enhanced stuff, at least for this first film, before we get into the really crazy stuff. This first film is gonna be more to introduce the concept of things can be escalated quite a bit.
Sorry, I don't mean to. Matt Reeves, that's the Robert Pattinson Batman,
yes.
correct? Okay, yes. I wanted to. Thank you.
The Planet of the Apes trilogy that I love, and the Batman.
Thank you.
Kind of going for that like realism but fantastical at the same time.
Thank you.
Yep. So my first Batman movie is called Batman.
Yeah.
And at this point, Batman's only been Batman for about a year or two.
Okay.
And he's incredibly vengeful and violent to all the criminals, no matter what crime it is. So he's just been super intense. If it's a crime, they're going to get punished.
Oh, okay.
The villains I have for this film are Victor Zsasz, which is serving as this is a dangerous criminal. We have Poison Ivy, who is going to be kind of a eco-terrorist in this. Yeah. So she's going to still be able to control plants, but not as grand scale as she does in comics and video games. But we're going to have like these weird enhanced plants that she's able to throw out, and they do specific things. So that we get like these weird, powerful plants, but they don't seem like super out of the ordinary.
It's more of like a botanist using plants she created to do specific things.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then also I have Mr. Freeze.
Of course.
Which I have a purpose for this too.
Okay.
Because obviously Mr. Freeze's overall goal is to help Nora. My overall goal in this movie is to allow Batman to explore what makes a criminal bad and why they do things that they do.
Ooh.
So Zsasz, he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like he's someone that needs to be put away.
Yeah.
Poison Ivy is an eco-terrorist. She believes she's doing the right thing. She's trying to save the environment, and she's hurting humans while at it.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze, he's just a tragic character all around. He's doing it to save the love of his life. And he's not proud of doing it. He's said time over again that he is not proud of what he has to do, but he believes that he has to do it to save Nora. And so I just like to have this overall goal of Batman learning why villains are bad. So as he starts off very ruthless towards villains, he slowly becomes more compassionate towards them to show that Batman does have a lighter side.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I just did this first movie. It was just more Batman learning more about his villains. And that's basically all I got for this one.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be... I almost didn't do Poison Ivy, but I really needed her for something I'm going to do later in the trilogy.
Gotcha.
And I recognize that this was a very bold choice to once again put Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze.
I was thinking about that.
I thought about that. I know what happened to Batman and Robin. Those two don't blend together well as villains, but there's a reason narratively why I have them together in this film.
Yeah.
And obviously, if I was working out plot points, I'd find ways so that they're not trying to, both take over the world at the same time. Yeah. If anything, it would be like small faction parts of the city that they would each have.
I feel like this is a lot more like sectioned off. It's not like it's an overarching story for Batman, but not for these villains.
Yes.
Does Bane make an appearance?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Krais.
I meant in the first one, but...
Not in the first one. But we'll get there.
Does the back credit card make an appearance?
No, absolutely not.
Forgot about that.
Sorry, keep going.
I swear to God. All right. But to end this movie, obviously all the villains would get put away. But we have a little teaser. I'm not doing post-credit scenes with this trilogy. I just rather be a part of the movie that sets up the next movie. Yeah. But we have this end teaser with Freeze talking to someone in Arkham who's in the shadows. And as they're discussing the mysterious figure sets up a plan. It's like, I have this plan that I would love for you to be part of. Gives a small little laugh. And here's my card. Lays down a playing card. It's the Joker.
Yep.
We still don't see the Joker's face.
Yeah.
So nice little reveal for later on.
Yeah. Such a good line. Here's my card.
Here's my card. I would love to take credit for it, but no.
I know.
So many Jokers have already said that.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's such a good line.
Just
a good line for Joker.
Slowly sneaks up. Here's my card, and just slips it into your pocket.
But leading on to my second movie called Batman: The Monster Within.
Oh?
I see what you mean.
See what I mean about how the second title would work? So, the overall part of this is Batman discovers what truly makes a monster a monster. So it kind of carries some of those same themes from the first film and goes into this one. But this time we're getting a little bit more fantastical by introducing some of the more monstrous characters.
Yeah.
So,
I swear to God.
my villains in this movie.
I swear to God.
Killer
I'm gonna
Croc,
be
Solomon
so-
Grundy,
I-
Clayface. What other
think?
ones did he say?
I'm gonna be so
I'm
mad.
feeling, I know what he's thinking, and I'm gonna be so glad when it happens to you.
Alright.
My main villain for the movie is Bane,
Mm-hmm.
That was not what I was thinking.
Yeah. Oh boy.
but I have some other villains in this too. I have Killer Croc,
Yeah.
Scarecrow,
Okay.
Mhm.
and Man-Bat.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, Chris.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm my mind somewhere else. Keep going.
Alright, so Bane is the lead villain in this film who is hired by a mysterious benefactor who is alluded to throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
Bane exploits Killer Croc's disease, which makes him more monstrous, and is messing with him, saying that he has a cure. But every time Killer Croc fails, Bane tortures him, making him more and more monstrous as the film goes on.
Ooh.
Man-Bat is a doctor working at Wayne Enterprises, whose technology working on the doctor's name I'm blanking on at the moment, but his overall goal is to kind of help solve deafness and stuff, and he's working with bats and sonar. But while he's doing that, some of his tech is technology that Batman uses while he's out fighting crime.
Oh.
So he's unknowingly helping Batman.
Oh.
But at some point, one of his experiments goes wrong, and he becomes Man-Bat.
Gotcha.
And then Scarecrow is going to be someone that pops up throughout the film, and he's going to interject Batman with some of his fear toxin. And he's also going to act as Bane's science guy throughout the film.
Gotcha.
But throughout these hallucinations and moments of fear through the fear toxin, Batman's going to be learning and remembering how and why he uses fear as a symbol to save Gotham. It's going to be like fighting actual monsters, but while also fighting his inner monsters. And that is what the main story of the film is going to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, part of a trilogy, so Batman's going to stop everyone.
Yeah, of course.
But towards the end of the movie, Krais might see where I'm going with this third movie, but a Dr. Young takes Bane and Arkham and says that she's got a secret project that she's going to work with Bane on.
The name does sound familiar. I just can't think of it at the moment.
Find out in a second.
Yep. And then a final teaser, we see the reveal of Joker's grin, saying that everything has been set in motion. Now, on to my third film.
I'm literally like, I'm excited. Like,
I'm good at building
yeah,
tension, aren't I?
you're doing a great job with this. Yeah.
My third film, Batman Madhouse.
Ooh.
Again, that's another good title that would have been good for your third one.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm not going to lie, this one's not completely original for me.
Yeah.
This is an adaptation of Batman Arkham Asylum, the video game. So, overall goal, Batman survives Joker's ambush at Arkham Asylum.
Ooh. Okay.
So I took some creative liberty and filling in some plot points and, adjusting for characters who weren't in the Arkham video game, like Man-Bat.
Yeah.
And then I also added some other things. Oh, Freeze wasn't in Arkham Asylum either.
Yeah.
So, Batman meets the Joker for the first time while he's holding the mayor hostage at City Hall. But after Batman captures Joker, he suspects that something is off and that it was almost too easy to get Joker. As they're walking through Arkham, Joker escapes his enclosement and he starts to release all the criminals from the cells. It is then discovered that Joker manipulated Dr. Quinzel into letting everyone loose in the asylum. So, as Batman's going around trying to stop all the inmates from escaping and discovering where Joker is, he discovers the secret project of Dr. Young, where Bane is being used as a test dummy for a new serum called Titan.
Okay, that's where I thought you were going with this, but I was like, no, he wouldn't just do that, would he?
Would I?
And then you did.
I
It's
did.
like, okay.
And it is also discovered here that Joker was the one who hired Bane in the second movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah, that was a kind of obvious one, but still.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, which also implies that Joker has been planning this for a long time,
Yeah.
including getting Bane to Arkham.
Yeah.
Then Batman will have a run-in with Scarecrow, who's administering Dr. Young's Titan formula to a bunch of Joker's goons. And what Titan formula does is turn henchmen into mindless beasts, similar to Bane, but not as big or smart.
Yeah.
And then after Batman gets past Scarecrow's fear toxin and his goons, Batman finds Freeze because Scarecrow killed Dr. Young, who had the notes for how to administer a cure for it.
Ooh.
And so he has to turn to the one guy who can probably come up with a cure. So he finds Freeze, who serves as an ally in this film instead of being against it, because Freeze doesn't care to be a villain. He just wants to help his wife.
Yeah.
And so Freeze explains that he can make an antidote, but he needs certain items. So Batman goes to the garden where he can find some herbs and stuff, where he runs into Poison Ivy, who shares that she does have some of the plants that he needs, but he needs to go find some other things first. So there's this old abandoned mansion on Arkham Island where it used to serve as the home for the founder of Arkham. And it's been completely torn apart and abandoned now. I couldn't come up with a certain item for Batman to get, because the main reason I wanted him to go there is so we can have another fight with Man-Bat.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
And it'd just be a lot of Man-Bat hiding in the shadows. And it'd be very similar to how Batman likes to toy around with his enemies by just scaring them. Man-Bat will be constantly hiding up in high places in the dark and just swooping down to take shots at Batman.
Yeah, taste of his own medicine type
thing. And then after that, Batman will have to go down to Killer Croc's lair, where he finds Scarecrow, and he has to find some plant spores that only grow down in Croc's special cage that he has. And while he's down there, he finds Scarecrow, and while Scarecrow's taunting him and about ready to inject him with some more fear gas, Killer Croc comes up out of the water and kills Scarecrow. And then drags his lifeless body down into the water around him.
Dang, okay.
And then you can get an idea of what the movie's going to play out like if you played the games a bit. Yeah. And then, Batman's going to try to find the spores that he needs while avoiding Croc getting him. Yeah. And then eventually he'll stop Croc and then get back up to Ivy, who has some more stuff that she can get. But Joker has given her some Titan formula. So now he's got to fight Ivy.
On steroids.
Yep. And then he has his final confrontation with Joker and Harley, where Joker shares his origins of being the original Red Hood, and Batman in his first year knocking him into the pit, not even bothering trying to save him. And so this whole scheme was for revenge. And then at the very end, Joker takes the Titan formula himself, and he kills Harley. Flat out just kills her. And then he has his fight with Batman, and Batman defeats him. By fighting the way Batman does.
Wait, Batman won?
Yeah. Of course.
And I would have ended the trilogy with Batman dying and Joker taking over, but
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Me, obviously.
Actually, I think I would have ended it with Batman climbing Strange Tower and Wonder Tower and it being dismantled.
Yep. And so, the overall goal I wanted Batman to face in this was not just the onslaught of enemies that he's faced, but also the fact that his past comes back to haunt him. Yeah. And I kind of just felt like how it works well as a trilogy. It's just, as I had that build up with Joker and I'll introduce these villains, they're all very thematically rich with what I was going for. And I just felt like if we get that tone similar to the Matt Reeves' The Batman series, it could be really cool to see. Yeah. But that's my pitch for a Batman trilogy.
Nice. All right. You want to go first, Chris?
You can go first.
Okay. So I really overall just really like it. So the first one I thought was really good. A young Batman is basically learning he's basically finding what he wants to be as Batman. And I think you chose the perfect villains for that. My thing is, I don't know how you would jump between the villains. The only thing I can think of personally is this takes place over an extended period of time, and then one villain does their thing, and then there's a little bit of time, and then the next one does.
So one thing I could explain more, Victor Zsasz would be very similar to Krais at the beginning. Yeah, he's just a lunatic at the beginning who gets caught. and then the main villains would be Poison Ivy or Mr. Freeze, and then maybe Zsasz would escape again, and then just be another thing for them to take down. But yeah, I see Zsasz, if he's going to work with someone, it'd be more on lines with Poison Ivy.
Yeah. Poison Ivy would probably use him.
Yeah, and I felt like that could have done something with that.
Yeah.
It's just like, I really wanted Mr. Freeze in here.
Yeah.
Just because, first off, Freeze is my favorite villain, and I feel like you could do something with this style that would be very unique to Freeze. And also, I really wanted him to be in the Arkham Asylum one, where he's not in the video game, but I feel like you could do a nice thing that's true to the character in it.
Yeah. I think you chose these very well. I really like what you're doing, especially as the first movie in the trilogy. I just am curious as to how all three of them would flow together in the same movie. Which you're fully
I'm very well aware of.
Yeah.
Because I recognize right off the bat, Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze do not blend together well.
Yeah.
But they work well thematically.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like a storytelling thing. I need to work on the script quite a bit to get that right.
Yeah, exactly. And you did really good at keeping on theme throughout. You never strayed from it. You never really forced anything, I feel like, so you did a great job with that. When you started with the second movie and you were talking, just overall, it's a lot of Batman being introspective. And while that's good, I feel like I personally am not a fan of that being a main focus for the entire trilogy. I feel like it gets a little repetitive. But you hit your goal each time very well. It's just I would have incorporated more for each movie. While that would definitely be the underlying theme, I feel like you need something else for each movie to make it stand out on its own as far as thematic. Because again, it just feels a little repetitive, and while that's good for like an underlying thing for the trilogy, I feel like it's a bit too I keep saying repetitive, and I'm being repetitive in doing that. But
it's a little repetitive.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like there needs to be something that makes each movie stand out a little more, because it kind of just feels like a continuation of the same movie.
And essentially that's what most trilogies are going for too.
Yeah.
So like they're slightly different in each movie.
Yeah.
It works as an overall theme across the trilogy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was shooting at.
Gotcha. I think it's purely because this is just the pitch that it just...
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that took me back as I was listening, but I feel like you did really well. Also, I don't know, I haven't played the Arkham games, they're on my list, but I don't know how much you took from that game, but as you were describing it, I'm like, this sounds exactly like a video game. So I don't know how much you took from that, but it's still really good.
And again, it's like, I quite literally just tried to bullet pointed big plot points in the game, and if I was really working on the script, I'd try to find a way so it doesn't feel video gamey.
Yeah.
But you could also get the inspiration from it, because again, like video games, like, hey, go do this for this and this.
Yeah, it's very.
And like I got that, but again, trying to get as much characters in while also doing a really good story.
Yeah.
Just takes a little bit more than 30 minutes.
Yeah, and it feels like you're not trying to just remake something. It feels like you're trying to make a nod towards an already established Batman thing. It's not like you're trying to copy. It's clear you're not trying to copy it. You're trying to like honor it. I guess would be a good word.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's an adaptation of it because I straight up said at the beginning of the third movie, it's mostly based off that game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what I was working to, but I feel like it works because I had all the setup in the first two movies.
I agree. And honestly, even if it is just a movie version of the game, I still think it'd work because you had the build up properly, and it's also another Batman thing. You're not just copying something from another franchise.
And it's not like shot for shot the same game either, because first off, I'm not going to do a 6-hour movie.
Yeah.
But this would definitely be like maybe even maybe pushing it a 3.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
But it would probably most likely just be a 3-hour movie to top it, and I would just try to blend some stuff together.
Yeah, and I feel like it comes back to the Batman fighting for a lot of it. I feel like that brings... Because I felt like that was also missing from the first two, which obviously that wasn't.
Yeah, and
lacking,
obviously I was trying to get more of the story points and the main reasons behind everything in, and that's why, like, obviously there's gonna be action scenes in the movie.
Of course.
That wasn't my primary focus in this. I was trying to get what stories I wanted to tell out of it.
Yeah, you just did a great job, and I just am trying to nitpick because that's what I have to do at this point. You did so well.
Seems like that's the case every time with
yeah,
you
I
on
know.
my pitches.
You just do a good job, and I'm trying to find holes in your stuff, and I can't.
Well, there's holes, but...
Yeah.
But Krais, what do you got?
I will say, I really did like this. I really like the story. And I think you did a good job of redeeming the original Batman and Robin using Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze together. Because you're right, they do work in that instance, and doing that revitalizes that dynamic that duo. So I commend you for that. My problem with this is what you said earlier about basically the third movie being a shot for shot of Arkham Asylum. I think it's a little disappointing to watch these two original movies, and then the third one is just basically is the same story as Arkham Asylum. I would have liked a more original take on it, and I agree it works with what it was. I just think, just as someone who's played the game, to have watched both the first movie and the second movie, and just be like, oh, here's a movie version of Arkham Asylum, and that's it. I feel like the rug was pulled underneath from underneath. It would be cool to see a Arkham City and Arkham. What's the third one?
Night. My goal wasn't to make the whole trilogy, but specifically Asylum, because it's such a big group
Right.
game. And honestly, if I went back specifically with the monster movie, I probably would have swapped out maybe even Killer Croc, as much as I wanted to do that underground scene with Professor Pig, because it would have also worked with... I know how much you hate Professor Pig, but it would have worked with the Monster Within, with, like, you got these actual monsters, but then you got someone who's actually more monstrous. And I even thought about maybe just throwing Zaz back in for a quick one, but I was like, that would be a little too repetitive. Yeah. But yeah, Professor Pig would have been that, and then he would have been put in for the third film. And again, that just would have helped make it more different. Mm-hmm. But I tried to make it as different as I could by adding Freeze and Man-Bat.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, you definitely got a point.
Yeah.
That's definitely a fair point, too.
Like I said, it would be cool to see the games as movies. Just, like, don't make Asylum the third one in the trilogy.
I honestly feel like Asylum is the best one that you could do, and you would have to make it the third film. It would definitely need to be a third or maybe even a fourth film, just so you can establish all the characters.
Yeah.
And then you would also... They'd probably change it up with what the main story is, besides the whole overall essence of it being in Arkham Asylum. So I just feel like Arkham Asylum as a whole is probably hard to adapt, but this is just like the fanboy me. It's like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to see it. I feel like there's an interesting story to tell there. Yeah. And like, because I didn't do Harley Quinn anywhere else besides this movie, I was like, honestly, let's just make her kind of like more of an Easter egg character, where she's not really a big presence, but she's just... You still get that storyline of Joker being very manipulative. Yeah. And that was kind of what my overall goal with the third film was, or this whole trilogy as well, was to show how tactical Joker can be, because it always gets lost in his craziness. Yeah. And it was one of my favorite aspects of The Dark Knight, too.
Oh, yeah. That was, for me, with my Joker movie, I was hard.
I could see those. Like, you had good inspirations in there from The Dark Knight, but you also had some from Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins. Yeah. And it was like, you kind of blended them all together very nicely, and I really liked it. Yeah,
I was trying not to copy them too much, and honestly, I couldn't remember which thing happened in which movie. So I was like, okay, we're just going to go for this, and hopefully it works. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But overall, I really liked everyone's. This was a fun one.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nice to see. We had a lot more variety than I thought we would, but we also had a lot of similarities, and that's weird to say in the same sentence.
Do you know what the only thing that we all use? I think the one thing that we all used in each one,
Joker being manipulated.
Yeah, but Joker's kind of like a given, because for every Batman you would need to have a Joker.
Yeah, and he also was a he was always just a manipulator of the story, which is what Joker is.
But even then, even just amongst in our subsections, we had comparisons. Like, Krais and I both did monster movies for our second one, as well as being more psychotic in the third one. Yeah. And then you two both had gang wars.
Yeah.
which that was also kind of cool to see.
Yeah. As Krais was talking about his movies, I'm like, shoot, it's going to sound like I copied him for a lot of it. But I think both of ours was different enough.
And honestly, Krais, if I'm being honest, I really like your monster pitch more than I did mine, because mine was more of a setup for Arkham, while yours was actually really creative by incorporating Breeze and Strange along with all these monster movies using
Grundy.
Yeah, Solomon Grundy as the patient zero, and I thought that was really creative.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite of all. If you took each of the movies, that was probably my favorite. Like even the movies alone, just because I think that's such a great idea. But yeah, I like mine. I like y'all's.
Yeah. Shall we spin the wheel?
We shall. All right.
It's gonna be like make a Real Housewives show or something.
Oh God.
Thank God that's not a prompt.
Yeah, I didn't put it on the list.
Yeah, well, I don't know. All right, here we go.
Oh God, that face! I hate the face every time.
Create a musical.
I know! I've been wanting to do this for so long! Yes! Yes! Me and Austin talked about this like a month and a half ago. I don't remember if we...
It wasn't even a month and a half ago. This is like 2 weeks ago, dude.
Wait, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I honestly had to stop. I was so excited for this. I started writing one, and then I'm like, wait, I can't use this plot now, so I'm just going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all know, I'm a stage writer. I get to do, now I get to present these. I'm so excited.
I've had an idea cooking in the back of my head for years now.
Yeah.
I just never had time to sit it down and write it. And then once we started doing this and I got to put this on the prompt wheel, I'm like, okay, now I just got to save it for this. Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. My problem is I'm going to want to write the entire script, which I will promise myself I will do after. Not before, after. Sorry. That's something I need to yell at myself about.
Krais, how you feeling? You're pretty quiet about
quiet.
I'm just gonna like. No, I don't know. I'm not really don't get me wrong. I love the theater. Okay, obviously all three of us are theater majors.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a sound designer. I'm more of like, give me the material and I'll make it for you. That's my wheelhouse.
I mean,
Fair
it's
enough.
just to make a musical, right? You could take a story from somewhere else and turn it into a musical.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's literally what I'm considering doing.
You could do adaptation. You could do original.
They've been making a lot of amazing adaptations recently too. So
yeah, like just this past year, which both got nominated at the Tonys, was Great Gatsby and The Outsiders.
Yeah. So I mean, you're not. Yeah, we got options.
But yeah, that one is super exciting. I have an idea for mine, and I'm ready to get to that.
Honestly, I was hoping we would do this sooner, just given we're all theater majors. But,
Yeah.
But we finally get to it. Woo! Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you all for listening to this episode. We had a lot of fun with this one, and we're obviously super psyched for the next mainline episode.
Oh, yeah. Let us know what you thought. You can send us messages on Instagram. Yes, we have that. We have it in our Spotify description of our podcast itself. A link in there.
Or if you just look up at Three Not So Wise Men, you could also find it there.
Yeah, we're not hard to find. But yeah, check that out if you haven't. But
also, be sure to let us know down the poll, which trilogy would you like to see as well?
Yeah, never forget that. All right. Thank you all for listening, and...
I'm Batman.
Thanks for listening to the Three Not So Wise Men. Krais Baker, Jack Green, and Austin Michaelis. Shout out to Louis Trotter for the awesome theme music. Have a good one, y'all.